Welcome to another episode of One Slide in 5 Minutes. In today's episode, we are going to talk about how the serverless search is priced. But before doing so, we are going to start by explaining the concept of serverless search and what it means. This video is going to be split in two parts. The first section, we are going to discuss the origin of serverless search concept. And then in the second section, we will talk about numbers and we're going to compare the pricing of the two giant solutions out there, which are opensearch and Elasticsearch. To explain the serverless search, I will ask you to bear with me while I build an analogy. Imagine that you want to buy a house. There are three problems that you may face. You need to know how many rooms you require, you need to pay for the house upfront, and you need to furnish it. In this scenario, one entity, which is the bank, sees the opportunity and solves the first problem by offering a model that allows you to avoid paying upfront. Instead, you pay as you live in the house, with the flexibility of leaving the house whenever you want, with the penalty, of course, that you need to pay. And the bank this time gets a premium, which is the interest. If you don't want to guess how many rooms you need, then there is another solution, which this time is hotels. They allow you to add and remove rooms as you wish, and add and remove furniture, although this option will be pricey, of course. Let's take the analogy one step further. Suppose you are an IT firm and you want to deploy your infrastructure. Much like building a house, you have three challenges to face. You need to know the size and characteristics of your infrastructure, you need to pay upfront for it if to acquire it, and you need to make it usable by installing software or the furniture in it. This time, it wasn't the bank that seized the opportunity of solving the problem, but it was giant tech companies. They introduced the cloud computing. They removed the burden of guessing the infrastructure size and paying upfront for it. And now they allow you to simply pay as you go and spin up resources when you need them. Yet, there is an issue of managing the software. The cloud providers learned from the banks, and they seized the opportunity of building what they call the serverless offering, where this time, you pay as you go, you spin up resources whenever you want them, and more importantly, you can fire your infrastructure engineers because you no longer need them to manage and install software for you. Now, moving up to search. Nature is going to repeat itself again, and in order for you to build your search platform, you have the three famous problems. You need to guess the size of your data, you need to pay upfront for it, and then you need to install the furniture in it, or install the software and what comes with it. Once again, we have three problems that need solving. Interestingly, the giant tech companies, Elastic and OpenSearch, attempted to solve all the three problems at once. In their cloud offering, they allow you to scale up and down as you go, and they take care of all the installing and managing of the software. This creates a wow effect, and all the problems are solved, and there is no more room for innovation or to create more traction. However, here is where we are wrong. Even with the pay-as-you-go model, there is still an element of guessing involved. Users must have a minimal setup that they can scale out from. The creative breakthrough came when the problem of guessing was entirely removed. With the new approach, which is the serverless approach, you don't have to guess even the starting size of your data. You simply send in your data and then you query it out. And then you receive a bill at the end of the month. There was an important thing in this solution, which is it separates the entrance of the data with the exit of data. Pretty much like what we did during the COVID pandemic, where we separated the exits and entrance in public spaces. All of this was achieved by lowering the unit of scaling to the smallest unit possible and separating the storage from the indexing and search. This innovation gave birth to what we call today the serverless search that we never know we needed. Example of Elasticsearch, instead of asking users to guess the unit of scaling and set rules for scaling, they made it the smallest unit possible and ensured that it could scale infinitely. They even separated the search from querying, creating a robust system that would scale independently from indexing. However, this comes with a price tag, and the pricing table that I'm showing you here shows the difference between two providers. The naming is different. Elasticsearch calls it the Elasticsearch Serverless, and OpenSearch, they call it the Amazon OpenSearch. The pricing unit names also differ. So we have the Elastic that calls it VCU, Virtual Compute Units, and then we have opensearch that calls it opensearch Computing Unit. It's not only the naming that differs, but also the meaning. In Elasticsearch or Elastic, we have the smallest unit is defined as 1 gigabyte of memory, while in opensearch it's 6 gigabytes of memory with its corresponding vCPU and cache, memory cache. I couldn't find the clear definition of the corresponding vCPU value, so we'll leave it for now. What about pricing itself? For ingest, Elasticsearch is priced at 14 cents per hour per VCU, whereas OpenSearch is priced at 24 cents per OCU. When scaled to the same baseline, OpenSearch is 3 times less expensive than Elasticsearch. However, you gotta keep in mind that Elasticsearch is a platform that is built on top of a cloud provider, so it's normal that its price is gonna be expensive than the cloud provider. Moving to search and vector search, Elastic is about twice as expensive as OpenSearch. For machine learning functionalities, only Elastic offers this option, so no direct comparison is possible here. Storage, again, Elastic is roughly twice as expensive, which is expected given the differences that I just mentioned. Then we move to data transfer, and here it gets a bit interesting. Elastic offers the first 50 gigabytes per month for free, then charges 5 cents per gigabyte. OpenSearch, on the other hand, they hasn't published its transfer pricing. The reason why I know, it may get around 5 cents per gigabyte if the data egress is to your browser, which should be the typical case if you are using Kibana or OpenSearch dashboards in the other case. So this raises a question, is Elastic potentially losing money on the data transfer, or I may be missing something here? For time series data such as logs and metrics, Elastic doesn't specify any pricing for this, or they don't support it for the time being, while for OpenSearch they just applied the same pricing. I know this time it has been longer than 5 minutes, but there was much to cover. And I hope if you stayed until here that you got something valuable out of it. And I promise next time it's going to be less than 5 minutes. Thank you.